a todas e a todas. Eu vou falar em português, peço desculpa, mas sinto mais confortável. Gostava, antes de mais, aqui de cumprimentar quem me ladeia nesta mesa, a doutora Marta Miranda, chefe de Divisão da Cultura, e o doutor Pedro Bruxado, nosso técnico superior coordenador da Arqueologia, muito ligado aqui ao projeto da construção naval em Vila do Conde. Cumprimentar de forma muito especial todos.
In the archaeology group and one of the main organizers of this conference. I would also like to greet all the participants here and also thank to all those who could not attend personally here but are following us via streaming. I do hope that these 3 days will be fruitful in terms of the attaining the goals that we have, mainly sharing practices and experiences in terms of watercrafts. We in Vila do Conde have been traditionally focusing on the construction of wood ships. And to that extent, we have been doing quite a lot in terms of revitalizing old traditions on the one hand, but also, and on the other hand, to try and spread the word and promote also research in this field. It is a part of our identity to actually consider the implications of shipbuilding. So I believe that this is a very timely event here. Hopefully the first of many that hopefully will be taking place in Vila do Conde. Vila do Conde has been discussing and working with and around these topics for quite some time. So if you have any interesting projects, please count us in. And will certainly be very positive for all. So I wish you a very positive work. I do hope that for those visiting us can take advantage of our place, of our city, in spite of the rain. We have our colleagues from the municipality that will certainly be willing to guide you and be with you. Thank you.
To all of you, I will try to speak in English, and I hope I will be completely perceptible to all of you. I would like to say welcome to Vila do Conde, welcome to the first International Congress Early Watercraft. I would like to thank everyone that is present in this room. Thank you for joining us. And I also would like to congratulate all of you that not being present in this room. It's also going to be seeing us and talking to us through the digital means that we have available. Vila do Conde, it's a land that is connected with wood shipbuilding traditions. We still have 4 active shipyards that work on wood. Almost all of the fishing vessels that are still made of wood in Portugal, which is more or less 60% of the entire fleet, still comes to Vila do Conde to be modernized, to be repaired. So this is something that we wish to, this knowledge that is behind the wood shipbuilding is something that we praise a lot, and we liked to make it something for the future. Obviously it will change, obviously will not be as it is because wood shipbuilding is slowly disappearing, but we nevertheless would like wood shipbuilding techniques to be preserved for the future. This is one of our aims here at the municipality of Vila do Conde. And that is why we believe that being the host of this Congress makes sense. because not all boats are made of wood, but not all the early boats were made of wood, but many of them would be so. But we are not only a land of wood in the past, we are also aiming for the future. Conde is also the land where we have one of the largest, if not the largest, kayak producers in the world. If you see the Olympics or wherever, other competitions that you have around the world, you will see a brand which is Nelo. That is engraved in many of the kayaks, and many of them are winners. So this is also one of the things that we are projecting to the future. It's one of the connections that we have. It's another way of preserving our heritage related with shipbuilding. It's in a smaller scale, but nevertheless, it's not a less important one. So, talking of kayaks and talking about the weather, right now we probably would need one to reach the site because it's pouring out there. But I'm not going to elongate my speech. I just would like to thank everyone that is present, and I also would like to congratulate everyone that is making this Congress possible, all of my colleagues that are involved in the organization, and that I believe they deserve also a little bit of recognition from ourselves. I will stop speaking, and I would like to move to our alignment of the Congress, and I would like to call Beat Arnold if he could make the presentation, the first presentation of the day, and that will be a memorable one, I believe. So, if you please, thank you.
We have Pete Arnold here, who I think many people who in this room will know very well for his work and contributions in early watercraft over the years. And certainly, when I was a young undergraduate, too long ago, I would read his papers and very much enjoy them. So Pete is going to give a little homage to Mirren, but I'm going to ask first of all for a minute's silence while we give a small slideshow of him. Okay, thank you.
Okay, you understand me? For the French, you take channel 0. For English, the translator, something like that. So, apologize my poor English. The work of Mir and Eric was very important, by the foundation of the association Early Watercraft, a global perspective on invention and development. It was done in April 2015. A year later, the association had 119 ambassadors and 40 institutions from 55 different countries. To create such an association as part of a global initiative dedicated to early watercraft, without chronological or thematic limits, and attempting to preserve the physical or immaterial data, was an utopian vision, to say the least. But a good fairy was watching over Miriam's project. I was not personally involved in its creation, and I will express my gratitude at being appointed honorary president at this occasion. One of the unique aspects of Miran's work is his success in bringing together a group of people spread all over the world through online connections. To complete this work, we still need a continuously updated listing of members, their email addresses, and areas of interest. However, I shall permit myself to present a number of personal considerations relating to the project, resulting from 20 years of peregrination around the world and 40 years archaeological excavations on prehistoric deposits located in humid environment such as the Palafit Station or lake dwellings. Together with the documentation and recovery of many prehistoric logboats from the Middle Neolithic to the Iron Age, or on Gallo-Roman boats of Celtic tradition. The focus of my remarks here will be traditional watercraft rather than early watercraft. For more than a half century now, in other words, since the Second World War and the globalization of trade that followed it, traditional watercraft have seen unprecedented development as a result of change of a range of causes, such as the universal appearance of light economical composite materials requiring little maintenance, or dramatic natural causes, such as the disappearance of large population of fishermen and naval captains from Sri Lankan coast during the terrible tsunami of 26 December 2004, which also devastated extensive coastal regions in Indonesia and India. The results has been a profound transformation in many facets of traditional naval construction and an immeasurable loss of ancient knowledge. It is unlikely this trend will change, and the creation of a group of ambassadors in every country of the world is an extremely positive response. Creating replica canoes is good. Studying them with still active users is much better. Contemporary production of replica in the context of research programs will enable us to better understand particular issues and to write a little less nonsense. It's for me. But we will still be lacking the skillful gesture that comes only from long apprenticeship, a path that every artisan must necessarily follow from their very earliest years. However, a scientist will often be most likely to ask the right question to these artisans, who often wonder why this person doesn't already have the correct response, even though their question is in fact extremely relevant, ultimately leading to mutual respect for each other's complementary knowledge. Typically, the concepts behind traditional construction often escape their creators. A classic response is often home. I do what my father and my grandfather did, confirming the traditionalism of this craftsmanship. But reference is also made to the secrets or skills concealed behind this knowledge. And with these responses come either the desire to share his knowledge with a stranger worthy of receiving it, on the contrary, a withdrawal due to the oppression suffered by these populations, their parents or their ancestors. It is also necessary for the asker to possess sufficient initial knowledge to grasp the subtleties expressed. Knowledge often based on one or more of the terms previously occurred. This, in turn, assumes a relatively broad critical knowledge resulting from the juxtaposition of a number of terms. Ethnographic, with knowledge of the way and customs of the people involved. Archaeological, with a capacity to approach fragments of objects to identify the missing pieces, and the technical knowledge of those having constructed the craft. Botanical, with knowledge of spatial feature and abundance of the material used. Nautical, to detect the constraint to which the object created are exposed. Thus, the same material analyzed by different researchers could produce very interesting complementary results. For example, the change of tools might have major consequences, such as the discovery and use of stone blades, then blades made of bronze and iron, and the development of new, larger, more powerful tools, such as the drill associated with the use of wooden peg, the pit saw, and the cutting of trunks where the grain is not perfect. We have thus discovered that using the light, thicker blade of bronze axe, it takes 3 times as long to cut down a similar tree than with an iron one, and 6 times as long with using a large stone axe with a much thicker butt edge to the blade, preventing it from shattering into flakes. The problem in that cases is, above all, psychological. When after an hour of work, the surface of the trunk seems barely scratched, and the people ask me to stop the experience. In the early 20th century, the Australian Aborigines were the subject of extensive ethnographic research and publications, including studies of their bark canoes, and more particularly, their typology. In parallel, their culture has gradually collapsed under pressure from Western colonists. After the Second World War and the globalization of economic processes, a large proportion of Aborigine population sunk into alcoholism, promoted by poorly targeted government subsidies and associated with a disconnection from their past, their customs, and traditional knowledge. It was only in the early 2000s that a profound identity crisis developed, leading to a research for their roots. But much of their knowledge has already disappeared. As for the bark canoe, only museum still preserved examples collected by past ethnologists. When I explored this archive a decade ago, with the benevolent assistance of the conservators, I was able to observe the diversity and remarkable, even unequaled complexity of the stitches used to construct these canoes, even compared to those of Amerindians. Deciphering these techniques and publishing them was an opportunity to allow new generation of Aborigines to reappropriate a part of their past. Another example, in Mozambique, in the wake of independence and the fratricial wars that followed it, the government annexed the forest, but allowed the local population to continue their exploitation according to their ancestral needs. Here, when the construction of bark canoe has continued until today, and when catastrophe happens, particularly major floods that destroy the bridges, these canoes can be made in just a few days, having reappeared in large numbers. But a government ban could, in theory, lead to this knowledge being lost in more than 1 or 2 generations. However, in 1972, Armando Moura indicated that, close to the capital, Maputo, the government had prohibited the use of sea fishing rafts constructed from giant palm rushes as a result of several lethal accidents. Half a century later, we observe that nothing has changed. In 1966, Walter Conde followed the traditional construction of one of the last logboats in Mondsee in Upper Austria. On the stoop of the felled tree, 3 crosses were incised with a few blow axe, so that the wandering souls could rest. But of course, the canoes preserved in museum bear no traces of this activity. Finally, it is worth noting that both correspond to the most complex tools created by humans, where the construction of the innumerable assemblies is based on the idea of large series and the law of least effort. Conversely, so complementing this, we have the chariot, and more precisely the war chariot, where the most sophisticated, most powerful assemblies are employed to maximize the user's chances to survival. We will continue with infinite examples, each more varied than the last. They would merely emphasize the extreme fragility of this craftsmanship, this knowledge, these customs, and the legends surrounding them. Documenting them is therefore an essential task that it will only be possible to complete with the help of many researchers and peoples interested in traditional lava construction. But the process will also make it possible to bring into museum the last survivor of specific types of craft, preserving them for the future. Thanks for your attention, and thank you, Miran, for your job.
Thank you very much, Bet. As Bet was saying there, the Early Watercraft Association, when it was founded by Miran in 2015 in Slovenia, was his brainchild, and is momentous in how he brought so many of us together from so many different countries across the globe. Not least this conference today, this inaugural conference, is also Miran's brainchild. But sadly he is unable to make it here today. However, we collectively are deeply honoured and deeply privileged that members of his family are here with us. We have Nusha Sajay as his partner, and his daughters Isa and Zala. So I'd like to ask Nusha, Isa and Zala if they can come down here, and we just have a small presentation to give them. Thank you. So thank you very much. It's the, I suppose the symbolism of the occasion isn't over just yet. The next presenter is Cyril Dowski, and he will be giving a presentation on the symbolic awards ceremony. Just by way of introduction, Cyril is from Austria. He's the general manager of the Association of Curatorship of Pile Dwellings in Austria. And he's also the representative of the International Coordination Group of the UNESCO World Heritage of prehistoric pile dwellings around the Alps. So I was talking to him earlier on, I said he doesn't believe in short titles. But Cyril, thank you very much.
Oh, yeah. All right. Bom dia. Hello. My name is Cyril Dworsky, and I'm very, very honored to be able to be here and add a little piece of commemoration to Miran Eric. I met Miran for the first time in 1999 when he participated in an excavation in Austria, in Keutschach am See, in Carinthia, south of the Alps. And I don't know, anybody who is really working underwater, who is doing underwater archaeology, maybe you have the same experience if you work underwater and you have these limited ways of communication, and you have a lot of body language involved, sign language involved to communicate underwater. This gives a certain type of bonding, of I don't know, a close connection. So although through the years we did not have so much contact all the time, but I felt very close to Miran as a colleague and friend. And I know, or actually I suspected always that Miran was quite good in German, but he understood it quite well, and I think he also knew how to speak it. But as he was a very, I don't know, rebellious mind, he always refused to speak German, also as a kind of act of civil disorder, because he was protesting against the Austrian way how to treat the Slovene minority in Carinthia. And I think this very well reflects also large parts of his life. And I just before the conference, I spoke to his daughter, and we were. This reminded me on one of the first occasions when we met. And actually the mayor of the municipality invited us as excavation team to one of the most fanciest restaurants in Carinthia. And Miran just brought his whole family, which was, I think, not the intention of the mayor, but then we messed up the whole restaurant with a lot of children buzzing around. And I think this was quite a nice symbolic occasion, how Miran saw the world and how inclusive and also, I don't know, social active he was. And actually, I think it must have been around 2006, maybe 2007, when Miran had this idea of taking the advantage of the Slovene presidency of the EU Council. I think 2008, first half of 2008, was the turn of Slovenia as head of the EU Council, and he had this idea to use this opportunity to organize something like a logboat race on the Ljubljanica River. And his idea was to bring reconstructed logboats from all over Europe to Slovenia and have this race. Unfortunately, this idea was maybe too big, also because the transport of logboats through Europe, you know, this is a massive logistic task and takes a lot of money. So he was not able to realize this idea. But then, and I will talk about this a little bit more on Saturday, 2014, there was an exhibition in Switzerland, and 2015 they used the boat that they created for the exhibition for the first international logboat regatta in Switzerland at the Lake Biel. And Miran was not, as far as I know, not directly involved in this organization, but I always felt he was kind of a spiritual rector of this whole idea of the international logboat races. And so what we proposed to the organizers, or also this international community of people working in the field of pile dwellings, of lake villages and the UNESCO World Heritage, was that we somehow try to commemorate Miran also in the spirit of these races. And as there is a trophy that is handed from one winner to the other every year, which is still without a name, and you can see it in the back. Actually, it's made of a piece of I don't know the word, the English word. It's like the dry wood that you find on the driftwood. Exactly, you can find it on the shores of the lakes and rivers, and it's a very beautiful trophy. And this is without name. I intended to bring it to the conference, but actually it's very difficult because in my memory it was like this size, but then it's actually, in reality, it's like this size, and Ryanair did not allow me to bring it into the cabin. So I'm sorry, I wanted to have it to you and to show it, and the idea is really to name it after Miran, and we want to, like, from the next year onwards, we want to have a special Miran Eric Cup, so named the race also in commemoration of Miran. And I think all of the organizers and the international community accepted this, so I can positively say that this is going to happen. And I think, because this conference, as you said, is one of the brainchilds of Miran, but after the conference, I don't know when we will have the next conference for early watercraft, but this is a thing that is going to happen every year. And every year, hundreds of people will hear the name of Miran, and I'm very happy that this is going to be. So thank you very much, and next time we will have the regatta in France. You're all invited. I will talk about it on Saturday, but then you can maybe see the Miran Eric trophy in real life. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Cyril. As you hear, so next year, you're going to have to practice your French, and we have a fluent English speaker or French speaker in the audience in Beth, so maybe he might be able to give us some lessons over the weekend while we're here. So that concludes our morning session, and we have lunch now until 2 o'clock. So I'm going to hand over to our local organizer, Pedro, that he can fill you in on the details, of those. Thank you.
Well, as Niall was saying, now we will reconvene for lunchtime. I would ask you to come back at 2 o'clock p.m. sharp, so we can start with the conferences that will be provided to us by two means. There will be presenters that will be present in the conference room, and there will be another one that unfortunately is not possible to attend to the Congress because of an injury on the back, that he broke his back and is in recovery, so it's not be able to, which is Felipe Castro. That it's not be able to be with us in this room, but nevertheless he will be present by a video that is sent from his presentation. So I hope that you enjoyed this part of this Congress, which is the lighter part of it, and then we can reconvene at 2 p.m. for the scientific contents of the Congress. So have a nice lunch and see you then. Thank you.